Here we go, live and in color. The street committee's back at you. We hadn't made one recently. The street committee was in mourning. The local NFL team has been eliminated again. Didn't make the playoffs. There's been the 6 losing seasons in a row. So in order to not say things that I would not want to regret, I decided to give myself a grace period before I gave the autopsy and the final report on the local NFL team. The Atlanta Falcons have lost 6 seasons in a row. There were some positive signs this year. We had a couple of young players that seem to have a bright future if utilized correctly. We did sign Jesse Bates, who was a great safety. We drafted Bijan Robinson, who was very talented running back. I don't think he was fully utilized to the best of his abilities, but that's a coaching issue. We had Clark Phillips, who was a good young DB, who, when he finally got a chance to play, seemed to be pretty good. We have some other players that could be brought along, but we still have the same problem we've had. We fired a coach again. Arthur Blank is now getting ready to hire the 6th or 7th coach of his ownership, which is not a great sign. If you have 7 coaches in 20 years, you may have to look at who's choosing the coaches or what criteria you're using. There may be some retrospect that you have to do some soul searching, maybe get the yes people out of the room, the people who tell you you're doing a great job because you signed their check. I don't get a check from Arthur Blank, so I have no reason to lie to Arthur Blank. Somebody should let him know what I say. If you need help, call me. I'd be happy to help him out, and probably cheaper and more effectively than the people who agree to all these bad hires. They hire bozos and all kind of hype men. They never hired a solid coach who has got them to a Super Bowl championship. So some retrospect must be done. If Rich McKay and Arthur Blank keep hiring people who don't seem to have the right stuff, then you have to look at the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing, expecting different results. Some of the things are fundamental. 1, do not draft a tight end with the 4th draft pick. And if you got the 4th pick in the draft, you have fundamental problems to be picking that high. You need a franchise quarterback. So don't draft a running back at number 8. Hey, the reason you have drafted in the top 10 3 years in a row is because you have not had very good results. So just from me to you, if you have an NFL team, you need a franchise quarterback. 1. 2, you need a quarterback hunter, a defense. The reason we have very low sack results is we have not ever had a professional quarterback hunter since John Abraham left. You need fundamentally 3 or 4 positions to be excellent if you want to be in championship. You need a great tackle to keep people off your quarterback. You need a quarterback hunter. You need a great quarterback. You can fill out from there. If you don't believe me, look at the teams in the playoffs. They all got competent quarterbacks. All have competent coaches. What's missing in Atlanta? A competent quarterback and coach. So this has to be rectified. I've been a season ticket holder over 20 years, and I'm having some very hard decisions to make about whether I will support this financially any further. People generally vote with their feet. They don't go to the stadium anymore. Stadium's half empty or half full, depending on who how you look at life. But people are going to come to the conclusion eventually that in times of economic concerns, you want to spend hard-earned money to see this kind of product. I have to say to the Falcons, take a look at the Braves. The Braves used to be brutally awful. What happened? Well, they got good management. Alex Anthopoulos came in and slowly built it up to a sustainably good franchise. They won World Series 2 years ago. They was in playoffs every year. So if you're a fan of the Braves, they may not win the championship every year, but they're going to be competitive. They're going to put a good product on the field. The Hawks and the Falcons have to look at themselves and say there's got to be a reason. The Atlanta Falcons were founded in 1966, have never won a Super Bowl. The Atlanta Hawks have been in this town since the 60s, have never made it to the championship, the conference finals. There's got to be a reason for this kind of losing, and it has to start at the top. Somebody's got to take ownership. if the owner and his right hand man run around and say, we so smart, we did this, we did that, but you have no trophies. So I don't care if the yes men tell you that, hey, you the smartest owner, you know how to sell hammers. You know, I got a lot of regard for what Home Depot did. But because you can sell hammers don't mean you can run a franchise. And most of the owners that are successful, they don't meddle. They get good people, they get good and charge them to do their job and hold them accountable. I don't really think that the people that have been running the Falcons could do any better than I do. I think I could do better. I suspect without a doubt that I would have never drafted a tight end with the 4th pick in the draft. Never. I don't drink really anymore, but when I was drinking, I wouldn't have bought myself to bring the draft a tight end with the 4th draft pick ever. It's just not a value pick. People who draft in the top 10 must always be sure they have a very solid quarterback. This is the most important position in any professional sport. If you don't believe me, watch the playoffs this weekend and see the quarterbacks playing. See if you see any bozos. You might find 1 or 2 less than great, but in general, you're going to find Patrick Mahomes, Lamar. You're going to find people that are at the top of the NFL. You are not going to find the kind of quarterback play we have in this town. And whoever thought he was a good player should have been fired. It took 3 years to fire him. I would have never, ever thought that we were going to win anything with the quarterbacks we had. There are better quarterbacks in college. If you think you're so smart that you can draft a guy in the 3rd or 4th round and trick everybody else, well, what did that get you? It got you the unemployment line. It had people put a for sale sign in your yard. Look, I love the teams, supported the teams, but it's time for something different. I'm not going to be able to buy any more of these tickets if this something. The next coach don't win, sayonara, arrivederci, ciao, adios, deuces. Get it right. If you need help, call me. Let's get this thing right. The people in this town have suffered long enough, and if it doesn't go right this time, Arthur Blank sell the team. Let us go. Set me free. Deuces.